is Marketing of Today. I'm Cesar.
And Liv.
Let's go! Welcome back to another episode of Marketing of Today. Today, we have a special guest, Liv. Introduce our guest today, please.
So here today we have Blake. I didn't do a lot of research on him because I wanted to just get a fresh perspective of who we were bringing, but I just took a quick glimpse at his page and I already knew that it was going to be a great episode. So thank you for coming. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Cesar, I am curious, why did you bring him to the show?
So me and Blake and I have been following each other for more than 2 years now, right? So we've been in social media, and connecting that way for a little while. And then one day, he hit my DM and was like, you know what, let's have a meeting. Let's get on Zoom. Let's have a conversation. And we kicked it off, right off the bat. What was your thoughts on that time?
Sure. I felt the sincerity from you. That's why I connected with you.
Yeah.
You're a very sincere person. And that's the most important trait to me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I wanted to come meet you in person, and I love what you're doing here. You shoot it so professionally.
I try.
And then when I listened to your podcast yesterday, I listened to your podcast that you had a couple on.
Yeah.
And there was
For Valentine's.
It was really motivational, actually. You were talking a lot of personal development, and that's all what I'm into. So.
Yeah. So I know that you have a studio in Teaneck. That's what you've been doing for a long time. But let's go a little farther behind. Talk to me. How do you get to where you are today?
Sure. So I suffered with anxiety, depression, addiction issues, suicidal, but secretly. All of my problems were secret.
Mm-hmm.
Only people who were the closest to me knew.
Mm-hmm.
But in my early 20s, I was going through a period where I was sleeping like an hour a night, and my head was driving me nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to lean on weed. I don't want to lean on alcohol. I don't want to lean on transient pleasures anymore. And I didn't use that word at that time.
Yeah.
But I just knew I had to do something to change fundamentally. And that led me down a path of seeking out what could help me. And that led me down a path of personal development, eventually meditation. And when I found the meditation practice that I do right now, which is more of like deeper work, it's not just relaxing, but really healing the things that I was holding on to that I didn't know that I needed to let go of those things. And once I started doing that, just everything changed. I started to be able to sleep better. And then bit by bit, started to be able to change my life. And it led me to, I lived in Asia for about a year, studying meditation. It was. And then when I came back, eventually, I realized I wanted to start teaching and guiding.
You look at him, you can't even tell. You think he's this person that has it all together from, the beginning of life, because you carry it very well. But sometimes people don't know that even though you carry things well, certain things are just heavy. So that's amazing. And I think I do the same thing too. A lot of people tell me like, oh, you don't look like what you've been through. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I carry it well, but we're humans and we deal with real things,
So like if you had to, one of the things that you hold dear of that learning experience through you going through all this and 9 years later, like what has taken you to where you are and like the thought process behind it?
The thought process behind what's the question exactly?
So like, when you're in a dark place, it's really hard to stay in a clean area. You usually get pulled in. What have you learned that has taught you to maintain your mind straight and knowing that you're doing the better for yourself? Like if anybody
maintain serenity and get back to his center.
Yeah, he knows the words.
Thank you so much. No doubt. It's a deep question. So that's the work that I'm so passionate about is not just about temporary relief, but really fundamentally changing.
Okay.
I was unaware when I was going through that tough time. I thought that my issues at that time was just what I was worrying about my girlfriend or about the future, or money or
youth problems.
I thought that was the issue.
Yeah.
But the issue was for my whole life. But we're so unaware. Even things that seem insignificant, our body takes it in.
So like subconscious, your subconscious self, your childhood traumas, all of those things.
That's the actual issue.
Yeah.
So when we heal those, we can actually get in a better place. And of course, I've been doing it consistently for 12 years. So many things happen to me in my life, you name it. People I love pass away. That's probably the deepest. Things related to money, love, whatever. But my mind's at a place that is stable. Like a feeling like everything's okay, everything's going to be okay, even when going through a tough time. Where before I wasn't like that. When things happen, I wanted to die. you know?
Yeah. So how do you go from doing the work on yourself to turning it into a business? And I don't want to call it a business because, things like that, it gives you a whole other level of reward outside of money. So how do you go from working on yourself, making yourself better, to then turning it into a business?
Sure. So definitely, we were just talking about that too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say like, oh, I don't do it for the money, and they don't mean it. I really mean it. Like, I really chose this because I want to help people. At the end of the day, this is a very valuable item, so money will come in. But I'm really passionate about the things that go on in the world too.
Yeah.
Like, even I believe I have the capacity to make a lot of money, but I will give back a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's my goal anyway.
Yeah.
So as far as, I just realized that I really enjoyed helping people. Actually, when I got better, I was just teaching like 3 nights a week actually.
Yeah.
And then I really loved it. Like, seeing people change, that really fired me up. So I was like, I want to do this. And even if I make less money at first, that's okay.
Yeah. I see like people that have gone through like the most hurt, the most trials and things like that are the most empathetic people, and do end up doing your type of line of work. So I commend you for actually taking that step, because I'm sure that you faced a lot of judgment going into this type of business, right? But it takes a different type of, I think, animal, and a different type of like hunger and
mentality.
Mentality, absolutely, to really go into this work. So can you tell us a little bit about transitioning from, whatever you did before till now?
That's awesome. And that's great that you knew that I would go through a lot of judgment for that, of course. And even now, meditation is pretty popular. But
12 years ago.
It's interesting. Like, even just 12 years ago, when I would tell people like, yeah, I'm going to meditate, they're like, what are you doing? Like,
the gym?
No, like me growing up, in church, in meditation, that's witchery.
Exactly.
You're going to play with other things. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it's not what it is. Like, until you experience it to the capacity that I have, it's not what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how did you face the criticism? Like, what are some of the things that you went through transitioning?
In that one, I always wanted to lean on my heart. Especially since I started healing, I felt like I went from being like literally driving my car thinking about going off the rails, make it look like an accident, to like waking up super happy. So I would be a jerk to not try to help other people do it in some capacity. And then I just started to actually like helping people. So,
yeah.
And then, so it didn't matter. And I knew if people didn't want to be friends with me because of that, or family members want to judge me for it, that's on them. But I know I had to live with myself at the end of the day. So, and I knew what I was doing was right and helping people. So
if you had to like, when we were having our conversation on Zoom, I think it was a different animal because I was like freshly getting to know you. Now that I've known, like, I understand you, your message behind it, like, I already know what you're going to say in that case. But like, my thing is, right, I was in a dark place once, and it took a lot of guts and not a lot of people understanding to get out of there. So as a meditation coach that you are, right? Like, I know you're moving into the corporate world now, but how for anybody who's in their normal life, they know that there's an issue, they know they have to fix something, they know they have to work on themselves, they know they have to do better. What is one thought that you can say, hey, listen, if you start thinking this way or with this route or analyze this way, what was that key thing for someone right now?
Sure. I think if you're having that feeling come up, it's for a reason, and you shouldn't ignore it. The more that we ignore it, the bigger the problem gets.
Yeah.
The same with anything else. I like to make very simple examples. Your room starts to get dirty, you don't clean it, getting more dirty, more dirty, more dirty. We try to stuff it down and pretend everything's okay, but it's not. So as soon as you can face yourself, have the courage to face yourself, then you'll be able to start to get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think before I used to like run from facing my issue.
Yeah.
And I used to do all types of things, everything that you can think of to run away from my issues and face my shit, my bullshit, my shit, whatever I had going on, problems. you know, that was the hardest part for me, was just facing my shit. And a lot of us, we either drink, we party, we overwork, which is a big one for a lot of us that are entrepreneurs. We'll overwork ourselves. Like, we feel some type of way. I'm working till I can't no more. And
Yeah.
you end up
To not think about it.
you sick. Yeah. And this is just like a thing that we think it's a coping mechanism, but it's actually a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You know, you have to face your shit. They say, like, also, you know, before something great happens, your whole world normally falls apart, right? And I think it's true, because you have to face your shit to get the good outcomes.
100%.
It's crucial. It's crucial. If you're not facing your shit, you're gonna end up in the same situation, in the same cycle, a couple months later.
100%.
You know?
And it go like they say, if you don't make time for your wellness, you're gonna be forced to make time for your illness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It even goes back to, it's just very important.
Yeah.
I think about, you have no choice at some point to face it.
100%.
Whether it's, and you talked about mental health, but it can be, mental health causes physical symptoms too, but it can be your physical health too, if you know it's getting out of whack.
Yeah.
You need to take care of yourself. And then actually look at the most successful people in the world. They make time to do that.
Yeah.
It's no mistake.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, now I know that you're going into the corporate world, and I know for you it's not a financial thing, because anybody automatically will tag that to, like, oh, that's where the money is. It's not financial, but why are you looking into corporate culture as something that you feel like you can help?
Sure. So right now, as you know, AI is huge.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact stats, but I get these articles and I read them about how many jobs are going to be lost due to AI in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. And there's all these articles coming out too, Forbes, Fox News, about that companies are looking for soft skills now, not hard skills, switching.
What's that? What are soft skills?
Patience, communication, awareness, self-awareness, empathy, talked about, positivity, confidence.
So
That's huge.
he's bringing a great point right now. I love where this is going now, because that's something I felt that for a very long time was lost in corporate culture. Any job setting that was, you had a structure where it was a manager, a supervisor, so on and so forth. Everybody was like, okay, you need to produce. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if your mother this. I don't care that, right? And I think that one of the companies that sort of started that trend was Google, right? Because they were very into working in different areas, move around, walk, exercise, have a better life experience. Where was the production lost that now companies are seeing that soft skills are actually important, not like before, right? Because before, communicating and talking to people was important.
So why is it such a big emphasis now?
Yeah.
That soft skills are implemented, or people that you're hiring are implementing those soft skills in their life?
For sure. I think I'm going to go deep with this one. I think it's really...
Go for it. That's what we love.
I can't not be deep.
Yeah. That's my life. That's my whole life's motto, I swear.
It's really, it's not even just companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're very divided right now.
Yeah.
And
agree.
So selfishness and loneliness are at all-time highs.
Mm-hmm.
So within organizations that happens, right? Competing and comparing and not having good teamwork. And of course, with technology, as we just talked about, like AI is going to do all the mundane work.
Yep.
So then someone who knows how to lead a team and be collaborative and listen and care about others, that's going to make the organization run better.
Yeah, not only that, I feel like, vibrationally, if you want to get into that, like if you're next to a high producer, they say, I think I read an article that said, like if you're next to a high producer, your production is probably going to be 15% more than if you were solo. So that just goes to show you just proximity, how important proximity is to be around positive people.
Yes.
Spiritually, vibrationally, how it's important to be next to high achievers. And the only way to maintain that environment, not the only way, but it's amazing that these businesses are providing tools and people like yourself to maintain that type of culture.
100% what you just said, yes. And think about it can go the other way too. Right?
Yeah.
Get it? Like, that you've been in those environments too, where someone comes in a horrible mood, everybody's like in a horrible mood.
Downer, David Downer. The one Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
And it could be the opposite. You could be the light and
Brings up the energy.
Right? That's cool. You talked about vibes, and it's interesting too. I know your audience, they might be spiritual or not. I know that.
It's a mix, I think.
But also, I think, yeah, everybody, a good amount of people are spiritual these days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny to me, vibration, as you said, sometimes, like a spiritual, what does it mean? It's really common sense, actually. We forget that we're like animals, right? Like, we can sense.
Yeah.
We have a sense of that. And even think about it. When you go in the car and you play music,
the vibration.
Think about it. But it's like, where is it coming from? Like, you don't see it, but you hear it and you feel it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And even I don't know if that's ever happened to you when you're, let's say you're sleeping at night and you leave the TV on and all of a sudden you wake up because you feel heavy and you look at the TV and there's like something crazy going on. Like even that.
Don't do that. Don't sleep. Yeah. Don't sleep with the TV on.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. Yeah.
It'll mess up your sleep.
Yeah, no, definitely. But like music, like you said, TV, just your surroundings in general, right? So if you're creating these cultures and these businesses, businesses haven't caught on. So as we were speaking off air was, there's this one person that approached me, told me, they're going to implement this to their brokerage. Yeah. I was just like, this is going to change the game, right? Because if you're feeding, you're teaching people how to feed, their soul, their subconscious, them as a person, as a spiritual being, when they're coming in early into the office, feeding that and creating a space where they're having those needs met, and then boom, they can come and have a safe space to work where it's gonna spread. The success, the money's gonna be attracted in, everything is gonna go hand in hand. Don't you agree with that?
So smart. Smart. And another point is too, think about when I was struggling with mental health, how many days I took off because of that. Like I would act like it was because I was sick. Yeah. It was really because I was just down and out about what was going on in my head. Yeah. And they know that that's what goes on too.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw something on Instagram. There was somebody, they tried something in a business where they told everybody, you can have an unlimited amount of vacation days. And they said, you saw that, right?
Yes.
It said you can have an unlimited amount of vacation days, and they said the atmosphere changed, the productivity changed.
Not only that not all of them actually took more than their regular vacation that they take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because the fact that they had the unlimited, they had the open and do whatever they want, it changed the perspective, and they wanted to work more because it felt more comfortable for the company.
Definition of reverse psychology.
Exactly. And it's, it's a culture. It's the same thing we're talking about. It's that if you have a good work balance culture with people, obviously we need to get work done. Everybody needs to be productive. But if you're not on top of people, micromanaging and taking the life out of them, you're going to get a better relationship. That's part of the reason why I don't like corporate. Like I worked on myself because it's like I was working for people that everybody has their own stage in life, etc. But not that they're no less, but you could see that they were lacking in certain things because of how they grew up, because of how they got there. You don't ever know. Exactly.
You think.
Exactly.
So it's like, so that's the part where I feel like it's rough, because if right here, right, we're all essentially in the same wavelength. We understand how important is our mental health. We understand how important is our physical, even though I haven't taken care of myself in a little while. We understand how, how we need to get moving forward. And also the first thing you asked me, how's my son, right? Like that alone creates, you see that person, where they come from, their mind, right? You have such a clean slate that your question is not, when are we going to get this done? No, it's how's your family? How's the people that are really take time in your life? And that shows you the importance, right? I think that we got to a point in this life where nobody cares. Everybody's worried about their own personal thing.
Self.
Everything is an inner, my ego, my this, my that. And let me tell you something. And Olivia, we had a conversation about this like yesterday, I think it was. I personally hate the people, and so I know that's a strong word, but I personally hate the people that come with this mentality like ego. at that point, you turn me off completely. Like, I no longer want to be associated with you. I don't even want to keep it in business because it's like, listen, money's to be made.
Yeah.
The comment you made to me earlier, right? When you were like, you're doing the corporate not because of money.
Yeah.
You're doing it because you want to help people.
I agree. I'm the same way. Like even in my in my past dating life or whatever, when I saw a guy, it didn't matter who he was. Just for instance, my ex-husband, he played in the NFL and he came and he was like, "Oh, I have this and I have that and I have this," and I was like, "No." And I ran for him for 6 months until I saw him in a setting with children of special needs, and then I was just like, "Oh, he
has a soft side. Yeah,
has something to him." And then we had some conversation after that where he was more of himself, but it took for him to have life experience, some experiences in between to break him down, and he got off his high horse. And then I was like, okay, he's now we're talking. I don't care about the things.
Yeah,
things are
100%. For you, what's like, what do you think is important for us to keep in mind when it comes to this like conversation? Because I think a lot of people don't see the importance of that for their own comfortable life and being better.
Sure. So one thing you hit on was about you gotta get things done. You still gotta be productive.
Yeah.
Efficiency is one of the main reasons actually people meditate. That's why all the top CEOs meditate. If you can have the ability to do what you're doing when you do it, that's the best.
Yeah.
Kobe said it's not about how many hours you practice, it's about how many hours you're present while you practice. And that's why
it's good.
He meditated every day. But it looks like you're taking time away when you take care of your physical health, eating right, meditating, praying, journaling, all these things. But you're becoming a better version of yourself that has 10 times more capacity.
You're adding time to your clock because you're more center.
Yeah, but also like not only on a physical plane, but on a spiritual plane.
That's the most important, actually.
It is. They say we're spiritual beings having a physical.
Yes, I totally believe that. That's true.
Yeah. So when did you know you were meant for more?
When did I know? I think we all.
Yeah, we all hit that. Like that pinnacle where you're like, wait, I'm meant for more. When did you have that experience? How old were you? What was happening in your life?
That's deep because even at a very young age, I was always a very deep thinker. And for whatever reason, I'm thinking of one of my friends died when I was 8. That was very crucial for my life. It hit me at that time. He just died choking in an accident. And it just hit me at that time that can happen to me too. Like even if my mom says it's not going to happen, whatever, it could 100% happen to me. And it surprises me. People live their whole life and have people die in their life, see people die, but it never hit them yet. So I always had that feeling from a young age. Yeah. So then I just always...
So your perception of death wasn't like a lot of people that are out here like, oh, people die. No, until it hits home, you don't really know. But when you actually see a spouse or a child or something like that, then you really get hit with the real perception of death. But you had that being just a friend to somebody. That's a lot. That makes you like a feeler. Like you really do feel things on a deeper level than most people.
Totally.
Yeah.
Get it.
So then when did you know you were meant for more? Like I know you were very in tune, but when did you hit like, I am meant for whatever else? Like whatever occupation you had, what did you do before?
Probably not until I really felt like I came to the other side of healing, actually. But I was actually, it's funny because this is entrepreneurship. My major was entrepreneurship.
Is that really a major?
It was a major. It was an early major.
What school? Like
How did I know that was a major?
Temple University in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, Temple.
But I was always into entrepreneurship to my whole life. And then also in my early 20s, one of the things about money too, I did think that, if I get super successful, like that's what's going to make me happy. And I had a mentor at the time who was super wealthy. And if you look at at that time, Facebook, or if you look at his stuff, it looks like everything's perfect.
Yeah.
When I got close with him, he had more anxiety than me.
Wow.
You know, and that just blew my mind. And I'm not against.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I'm not. You know that I'm.
Yeah, against
funny.
people
Right.
having
Like,
money.
it's not like you can be super happy too. You can be healed and have it and do good with it. But he wasn't, and that just blew my mind because I thought that was gonna help me. So then that kind of made me unmotivated too and broke my dreams.
Yeah.
But then once I came to the other side of healing too, I was like, I felt like I need to help the world with this. I need to help people also unlock their healing and be happy. Like, we don't have to be sad. Like, you don't have to.
No, and they say you have to be happy on the way to happy. And that's a muscle you have to build.
Yes.
That's a muscle. Like, I'm very introspective, and I'm always thinking, and I'm a lot of things, but on every day I remind myself, like, I have to be happy on the way to happy, because we're super goal driven. I'm like a super high achiever. Like, I want to achieve great things all the time, and I always have all these ideas or whatever. But I always have to remind myself to be happy on the way to happy. I know that I want all these things, but I have to maintain happiness on the way there, because that's the only way I'm going to achieve it. How are you going to attract something if you're deflecting it with these limiting beliefs or these negative thoughts, or dwelling on whatever situation you have going on?
Exactly. You were very wise. I was going to ask you actually, because you told me some things or one thing that you're going through that must be really deep. You seem very strong. So I was going to ask you, how do you do that? But you just you just answered there. But I'll ask
when
you now.
Strong is all you have, you have to do it. Like, you have to just be in it and face your shit. I've gone through so many situations in my life where probably I've lived a life, and I always say this, I've lived a life of like 4 women as far as experience goes. Like, I've lived most experiences that are traumatic, that can break a person, that take them, push them over the edge. But it's just, there's more to it, but it's just, you have to face it, you have to feel it. It's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to be sad, but then, okay, you put your boots on. Okay, let's get to work. Let's get through this.
You're very strong.
And that's how I basically, and also loneliness has been a great tool. And I know it sounds crazy, but loneliness has been such a great tool, because I feel like in your loneliness, you can do the work.
Yeah, I'll call it solitude.
Solitude, yeah.
I don't know. Loneliness, that's like the context of, of sadness.
Yeah.
But for sure, you got to be alone to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're very busy, you don't face your trauma, your unresolved issues.
Well, because you're just running. You're running and running, and then when it comes time for you to sit down and think about it, you're too tired. You're not really helping yourself at that point.
Yeah, and I think it's like a defense mechanism to a lot of us use it as.
I use it as a judge.
You have a lot of purpose. You have a lot of purpose too. That's what I feel as I heard you talk.
Yeah.
They say you're most fit to serve the person you once were, and I've experienced that so much.
Yeah.
If I didn't go through addiction, if I didn't go through the suicidal thoughts, all those things, so that's the capacity of who you can help, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's something, and when you get to the other side of it, and when you are strong, then it means the universe or God is choosing you to help others.
Yeah.
And whatever you're going through right now too, Cesar.
Yeah, 100%. Let me ask you a question. In the next, I know that you're currently working on your corporate side, but in the next 10 years, where do you see yourself?
10 years. Really, all my goals, I really do think about the end of my life a lot. And I also know I can die today.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But
life could be that short, yeah.
Yeah, not in control of it.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, let's just say I'd like to really make this meditation method that I do, true self meditation, known very well. And
ayahuasca?
No, it's not with that. We can talk about that. It's not with that. We could talk about that too, for sure. Thank you for bringing that up. It's very popular right now. And onlinemeditationevents.com too. And also I've run retreats in Florida. I really want to get into that more. So I think that's becoming something people really want and need. Just go somewhere just focus on eating all organic food, exercising, doing the inner work for a week instead of going on a great vacation where you're drinking everything like that. That's cool too. But people really want this, and then coming back change.
Yeah. I have a friend that just came back from one of those retreats, not maybe specifically to that extent, but something similar. And she was like, listen, it's the first vacation that I don't need a vacation from.
Right.
And I was just like,
I actually, when we were talking on the Zoom, I told you that I wanted to do one of those because I feel like even when I disconnect, I actually don't disconnect. So the only time I did disconnect was when I went with my family on Thanksgiving to DR. I did disconnect there. I left, I didn't pay attention too much to the phone. I didn't take any work, so I didn't have to do work. I just focused on having fun, and I felt like a weight lifted off me because I'm so go, go, go. Well, today was a go day, right? Yeah. So it's like when you sit down, tone down, you're like, that's not how I want to be all the time. I want to have time to breathe. I want to have time to stop for lunch. I don't want to be running around like a chicken with a head cut off, like they say.
I really suggest send your schedule well, being very intentional. Getting someone to help you with that is also
trying to get a VA.
What do you recommend for that? Somebody getting your spiritual life and centering outside of obviously God and things like that. Getting that portion, meditation, and getting your schedule right. You suggest, man?
Of course, the people from my meditation, I think, they're wonderful guides that really care.
That's something.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, thanks. So you do like mentorship, coaching, all of that.
When I was at the physical center for 9 years, every single day, almost. Obviously, I took off some days, but I worked mostly 7 days, and a lot of days, Monday through Friday, 9 sessions.
Wow.
And so
one-on-one or group?
One-on-one, maybe 2 group. Yeah, but the rest one-on-one.
Oh,
so
it's very personal.
And and then also we have the online meditationevents.com, and then our members, there's also virtual members where they get one-to-one a week, and then they can join the group classes too. But yeah, we check in with them, keep them accountable. I am gonna, like I said, I want to make myself available for one-to-ones too, and I'll help you on the side or whatever.
Thank you.
Too. I'd like to give you a session too.
That's,
you want one?
That's amazing. You should definitely incorporate that into our information on our page.
Of course, no, yeah, definitely. We're gonna put his website and all the information below so you can access it.
People in our business truly need it.
Yeah.
Like SOS. Like they need it. Like I'm seriously. And I think that when these brokerages and these brokers and people just running these big companies and in the business altogether, when they start to notice the urgency and the need, not just telling people go meditate, but providing the tools and access to people like yourself, that's when things are going to change
100%.
Overall. And even giving people that one-on-one experience, clients.
100%. That's the cool thing, and that's why we're like mentioning that we have the website for you like down, and people can click on it because it's like whoever needs it, they need to start working on it. I have a coach that it's a person that just came to me and said I want to help because I can see where you're having issues, and when the perspective that you get when you have someone else outside telling you, hey, look, you're doing it right, but the reason why you're not getting here is because all of this. For me, that was like mind-blowing, and I can imagine the value that someone can get out of you, especially in our industry. We know that the parties and the excuses and everything is like people get lost in that world. We're gonna go out for dinner. Let me drink 3 beers, 3 this, 3 that. You get home knocked out. Wake up the next morning, go. Yeah. So they don't take care of themselves. They don't understand that the importance of creating great relationships, right? Relationships that are gonna live throughout the bad times, not just the good times.
And habits.
Exactly.
Structure. Like I remember, like my best days, my champion days, are when I'm getting up at 5 a.m, meditating, taking a minute. Introspective, getting to the gym, doing my juicing, or I typically fast till 12 most days, but just working on me so then I can go good to my kids, so that I can go great from my business.
And your people in your circle, yeah.
But it's when I have my champion days that I see the success in my day.
What made you stop doing it? Well, you have kids.
I have great weeks, and then you have other days, and
of course
you know, you go to bed late and it kind of throws off your schedule. Or you go on vacation, when you come back, you're struggling. But I always circle.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Don't beat yourself up about
that. Yeah. I circle back and I give myself grace. And that's something that I still do, right? We beat ourselves up for doing things.
I was the number one at that.
Yeah.
Every day is an achievement and something to be proud of.
Definitely.
You want to go into the trivia?
For sure. Let's go.
Okay. All right. I don't know if I should give it to him soft or hard, but let's see.
Which one do you want? Which one do you want?
Whatever you feel, it's okay.
Let's go soft.
If you were in a room with everyone you ever met in your entire life, besides your parents, who would you look for?
My grandfather is coming to mind for me. He was really instrumental in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
He was so instrumental in my life. Actually, talk about entrepreneurs. He was a orphan, and then he's actually like kind of legend in the car business in Philly. And yeah, my father went to prison when I was a kid, but he was really instrumental in my life as a father figure. And I spent a lot of time with him and my grandma, and just he helped me so much see what's possible too. Like go from being an orphan to what he did. They say like there's the one that changes the trajectory of your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also he was somewhat spiritual and very patient and just great role model.
Yeah.
So that comes to mind for me.
And what would you do at that time? You had 5 minutes.
Hug him and give him a kiss and reminisce with him and talk with him and thank him.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How about you, Cesar?
Me, you're putting a tough question there because I'm lucky. My parents are still alive, and I had a great childhood in that sense. We still have a great bond. I have the healthiest baby in the world, and I'm married, and my wife and I are good. So it's like, for me, I will have to say me, and it's gonna sound kind of selfish, but at this point, it's for a reason. Me in high school or middle school.
Wow, you're creative, man.
If I could talk to myself at that time and tell myself, just, hey, listen.
The younger you.
Just wait. Be patient.
Yeah.
Don't want it so fast. Understand that it's gonna come to you. You got a good mind. Just continue learning. You're doing the right. All those stuff that I guess people don't tell you because you're too young, right? Or because
they didn't have the tools.
Exactly. But it's I feel like that's something somebody's doing in Brooklyn that I know. She's going to schools and she's speaking to students and saying, hey, this is the possibility when you become an adult, you can do this, right? And I think that that's something I want to do too. And I actually, it's like it goes a little beyond. I would love to bring him to a school, and have him speak to children and say, hey, listen, I know you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, but just take your time and understanding that you're gonna grow out of it. Because there's a lot of the reasons why we have certain thoughts and we go in a negative path is because we create this idea in our mind that we have to have whatever we want, or we have to do whatever we think that is right at that time.
Good.
So that's where I go. So
you would go to speak to the younger you. Yeah,
because God has blessed me with my family and everybody. So that part is just me. I think I needed to have a different.
So there was never anybody who got lost in the thoughts that you wish you could find again?
I mean, I was very introvert. So for me, my people was the people around me are still the people around me. I'm lucky in that sense.
Good.
What about you, girl?
So I really love, you just changed my whole mind. I had somebody in mind, but it would probably still be that. But if I had to say second, it would definitely be the younger me. Mm-hmm. All the time. Just because I grew up a very different upbringing than most people. Mm-hmm. In a very, 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 very old school Christian family, and obsolete training ways of thinking, radical, I might say. And but if I had to choose one person, it would be my daughter. I buried her in and I got 45 minutes with her, but I would have loved to see how she would have
grown
Only.
I can see that.
Okay, everybody got connected.
Okay.
No, but listen, I don't take it as a sad thing. I take it as a blessing for me because, number one, I did everything in my power to try to save her. So I went into, once I found out her diagnosis, they were like, okay, let's have an abortion on her. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, no, I'm not doing an abortion on my child. If it's her time to go, God is going to take her when she has to go, and she's going to go on her own time. I'm not going to be the cause to end somebody's life. How dare I? That's just the way I believe.
Beautiful way of thinking. Thank you. I love it.
That's just the way I believe.
Wait, some things we you think?
Some things I believe in those things.
Yeah, me too.
And because I grew up believing, and I still believe it, the blood of those children are in your hands. Period. That's how I feel. That's what feels right for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? My baby's kicking and moving, and I'm connecting, and I'm having these
feeling.
moments,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, how dare I? I'm not doing it.
Yeah, of course.
I said, you know what? And I did what I had to do. I went all over the country. I tried to find doctors to save her, all types of things. Unfortunately, where she had her diagnosis, it was on her head, so it was nearly impossible. But I mustered up a team to be ready, and I was gonna deliver her, and I was able to enjoy her for 9 months, in my belly, and I acted and enjoyed. Like, I went to the beach and I just rubbed my belly, and I try to be present with her and shower her with love through my belly, so I think I try to be the best mom possible for the time that I had. And I knew that she wasn't going to live probably much time or have any type of quality of life. So she was born. The fact that I got to have her breathe on my chest and take her last breaths on me for 45 minutes was such a blessing, because so many parents with the same diagnosis couldn't have that.
Wow.
And the fact that I was able to help save, because they went, like, it was on the news everywhere. And the fact that a lot of people reached out, oh my gosh, I didn't have, an abortion because I saw your story and it gave me strength. And if you can do it, I can too. And my son is fine.
Wow.
I have a whole page on Facebook. I'll show it to you. I have a whole page of stories after stories of people telling him, because of you, my kid is here.
So you would have taken away the opportunity of that child possibly surviving just because you would have aborted, right?
Yeah. But then I learned through the process, because burying your own child is not easy.
I can imagine.
It still has to be
worse than losing, I think.
Someone that, imagine.
I can't imagine.
There's no greater pain.
I have a son, and I'm like, that's what. The only thing I prayed for the whole time he was in the belly was health, money will come, diapers will come, milk will come.
Yeah.
I just want health.
Yeah.
Healthy child.
Yeah, and
everything.
People like don't underestimate that. Yeah. I've gone through some stuff.
No, I can imagine. So it's like, if I'm scared about my son being born as a healthy child, I can only imagine you experiencing that whole thing. So it's like, it's rough.
So for me, it was like, I had to find the silver lining. And I said, I was so angry. I was like, God, why am I going through this stuff? And I'm angry with God. And I think I'm like, God, we have to have a conversation right now. Like, why did this just happen? Why did I just experience this? What's the reason behind it, right? So then I was, just sitting in meditation and all these other things. And then it came to me, she had to die so those kids could live.
You don't even know the whole impact. There could be kids you don't even know.
I have the whole page of thousands of people.
That's just the people who reached out to you, right?
So it was that. She had to die so those kids can live.
Wow.
And I had so much people just,
Very deep.
That was the word that I received. And it was huge, but that makes me happy, and that gives me solace. And this is why I don't get sad when I tell the story all the time. It hurts, but then I'm like, this is the joy that I got.
You're still doing it too. Someone could listen to this that's going through.
So when people are like, hey, what are you so whatever, and I'm like, don't be sad. Like, I enjoyed her. I'm happy she's in a better place.
No.
We're over here the ones bugging out.
And I'm giving you, I give you respect and prompts, and that's why I said that. Wow, this is one of the things that we're learning, because I would have probably done the same thing. I would have probably told, oh, why would we do that? Let's give that child an opportunity. And I feel like now, I know everybody has a choice to make. It's their life. It's your life. You do whatever you want. But you don't know how you feel after that. And the fact that you didn't do it gave you the opportunity to create that closure. Because imagine if you wouldn't have done it. Would you ever been able to get that closure?
And guess what? I went through it again.
Oh, wow.
Time.
Damn.
But this time, the opening of the child wasn't on the head, on his back. And so this is the crazier part. This is why I'm saying it's bigger than that. Everything's always bigger than what you really think it is. My son Valentino, my 4-year-old, they told me the same thing. You're gonna have to abort him. He has spina bifida. He has a neurotubal defect as well as your previous daughter, except his is on his spine. But I had done so much research from when I lost my daughter that I already knew that he had a viable chance to actually have a decent life. So I knew right away. I had the doctors lined up. I already had the team ready to.
You had the knowledge.
And at 25 weeks, when I was pregnant, 25 weeks, I went into that surgery room. I put my life on the line. They took him out. They did his surgery. They put him back in my stomach, and I laid on bed rest until 37 weeks, and he's a walker. He was supposed to be wheelchair bound. Who knows what type of quality of life, and you can't even tell that he has a disability.
Amazing.
So you never know who you have next to you when you're taking it. I didn't even know that story.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's why we have to have empathy. It goes back to what you first said too.
That's what I'm telling you guys.
You don't know what people are going through. You don't. Even that guy you were saying who was just going through, like, being a jerk or whatever, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I think you still have to stand your ground and stand up for yourself. But it helps you
understand
about that stuff all the time. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, you look at her, you have no idea. I look at you, I have no idea.
No, and people look at my social media, they're like, oh, she has such a great life. Yeah, you don't know the stuff I've been through. You know?
Well.
You don't know the stuff I've been through. And
live.
I always choose to do good.
Yeah.
And that's not my only pregnancy that I put my life on the line, but I've continuously put my life on the line for my kids. And for people in general.
Yeah, because you got 5, but.
Yeah, but for people in general.
I understand your point 100%. And, like, thank you so much for sharing, because, like Gus said, right? There's someone that's listening to this that might be trying to make any decision.
Yeah.
And look at your story and be like, my situation is not that tough.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay. Let me figure that out. Because that's what happened when I went through my depression, right? When I got out of it, the way I got out of it was, Mom, why am I on meds? Why am I going to a psychologist? My issue is me.
Yeah.
I just have to change my mindset, my mentality. Let's get to it. Like, there's people going to worse things.
Yeah.
After that, my mom, I came to the United States by myself. My mom's freaking out because this guy's right here almost committing, suicide, going to psychologists, drinking medicine because he's depressed. And it was proven, the doctor said, la, la, la. And one day I just woke up and said, no more. We're done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And switched my mind. And here we are today.
Yeah.
Like imagine.
Get it together.
Exactly.
We got this.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I mean, right? If I would have heard that story at that time, I would have been like, I got a good life. Why am I complaining about?
Yeah.
Because in reality, that's what it was. I was like, I have a good life. I go on vacation a couple times a year. My parents take care of me, take care of my brother. We live good. Why am I complaining? What's the problem? And it's this false perception that we have today. I think that,
everything's perspective.
Everything is.
I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial. A little bit. Okay. I think that the fact that we haven't gone back to a war in so many years has created this fake perception that everything's good. And since we feel like life is so good because we don't have to deal with any of those traumas. There's a video that I saw online of kids in the 1920s versus kids today. They're like, oh, I want an iPhone. I want a PS5. I want material things. The kids back then would say, I want food. I want my brother. I want my dad. The simple and realistic things of life. And the fact that we're so busy looking at our pockets and not the relationships we cultivate I think that's what we're missing out.
I think that this is where I'll be controversial. I say that we are in war. It's just a spiritual war. It's a different war. It's a different war.
100%.
It's psychological.
Mm-hmm.
It's spiritual. It's not
visible.
There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in the world with another agenda.
Yeah.
And it's not like, even though we're in the information age, very few have access to that or have knowledge.
Knowledge to see the information.
It's all coming to light. It's all going to switch, though.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
It's gonna switch.
It's gonna switch because I think we were in the era. I was telling somebody the other day. We went into the era of information, right? But now we're in the era where we're using that information and we're implementing that information. But some of us are getting it and some people are struggling. And I think it's when we have more of the masses, more enlightened, more aware, that's when it's going to change.
Definitely. I love these kind of topics too.
Yeah.
Because the thing that they discount, you talked about, there's people on top who are trying to take advantage or, all the weird stuff that goes on that really actually goes on. But if you look in the Bible, you look in any religious scripture, God is within you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they discount, though, that God is actually within, and people have to discover that. Not in religious context.
Yeah.
I believe my personal belief is that God, Buddha, Allah, universe is the same, the truth.
Yeah.
I studied the religions a lot, but it's within us. And at the end of the day, that existence is running the show. So they discount that, but it's at the end of the day. So I don't know, but little by little in the right timing.
I agree. Completely agree. That's a whole other topic conversation.
We're getting too really deep.
No, and I've been religious my entire life. Right, my Dominican. So, we got the religion all the way, the whole entire life. And for a moment, I got lost. And God has a funny way of saying, "You're not listening. You need to listen. You're not listening." And then you get to a point where he's like, "Okay, you're listening. Here you go."
Yeah.
But then you stop listening again, and he's like, "I told you, listen." Right? So I think that the people who ask themselves, why it's so wrong, why is this, is because at the end of the day, you don't have God in your heart. You're doing things with malintent. You're not doing the things properly for yourself. You're not spiritually aligned, right? Your mental health is not good. So it's like, if you feel like everything is wrong, you got to check what's going on, because not the whole world could be against you. It's something that you might.
There's some stuff you got to work on.
Exactly. Anything that you want to say just to close it out. I think we went deep on the end, but I loved it. I loved it because it's the real things, right? I think those are the conversations that are going to change people's minds, and we're going to go back to a different world. So No,
it was a pleasure to get to meet both of you. This was a fun, great conversation. To anyone listening, you can, no matter what you're going through, you can change your life completely. Your capacity to change is so much greater than you even think. I always say that developing yourself spiritually, physically, and mentally, even if you just start with 5 minutes of each of those in whatever capacity, I promise you, your life's going to start to get better.
Good stuff. I love it.
What about you, Liv? What about you?
But he's the expert here. What can I say? I just think you just take moments to be introspective each and every day. Also take inventory of the people and the habits that you have in your life are two tools that are going to take you a long way.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Part of having Guss here is it's connecting and understanding the importance of you listening to yourself. And when we talked through Zoom, I felt that connection, and I felt like we could take this somewhere where it could help somebody. So if you want to get in contact with him, you saw his social media pages through the whole video. Go ahead and follow, as well as go to his website. So Liv, thank you.
I agree. Go run, follow him. Even you just being here and bring such a peace to the environment, and I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, guys.
Thank you.